Hey everyone, for this Meta Monday, we're diving into Jellicent Gardevoir, and trust me, this deck is a very strong item lock style meta deck that I think that you guys would enjoy. And in this video, I'll break down the full list, the core strategy, and show you some ranked matches so you can see just how powerful this deck really is. Now, here's the list that I've been testing. The game plan is simple but strong. You get Jellicent out and in the active as soon as possible, and then you get big knockouts while your opponents scramble to deal without using items or tools. Now, in the core cards of the deck is Jellicent EX, with its ability to stop your opponents from playing items or tools, and it can do 80 damage at base, and then if you have 4 energy attached, it actually does 160. The second key card is actually Gardevoir EX, and it's in here primarily for its ability to accelerate energy to our key attackers like the Clefairy, the Jellicent, the Screamtail. Along with that, we also have Munkidori as our third key card, and that is because he can turn the downside and all of that damage from Gardevoir EX ability into a weapon that we can use against our opponents. And together, these give the deck an edge against item heavy decks, especially decks like Gholdengo, which is super popular right now. Now, I do just want to highlight a few of the little tech choices that I have in here, like the Clefairy EX. We need to run it in this deck solely because it helps us in both Raging Bolt and Dragapult, allowing us to be able to one-shot those two Pokemon, which is key to our survival in those matchups. Along with that, we are running a second TM Devo to help out against the other Stage 2 decks, like Charizard EX and Dragapult, and to get multiple knockouts at once. There are times that I've had against like Gholdengo where I get a whole bunch of spread damage down, then you do the TM Evo, and now you can just knock them all out at once, and your opponent has no main attacker to do anything with anymore. And before we get into the games, I just want to ask you to please hit that like button and subscribe for more. I post every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, and with that being said, on to game number 1. Alright, so game number 1, we see it is against Raging Bolt. They have a pretty good opening right there, but I think our opening was just as good. Now then, our hand, though, on the other hand, is not very good at all. We at least have a couple attaches, you know, we have the whole Gardevoir line, but we really need a better hand. And they hit us with the Iono, which is perfect. So here we see a much better hand. We have the Fez, we have the Mew, so we can actually put down the Mew and the Fez. That's going to take up 2 slots on our bench, which with this deck, your bench does kind of matter a lot. You kind of want to have enough space for a Munkidori, but then you also got the Gardevoir there too, and you want to try to have another attacker in the back, so you can quickly fill up your bench really fast, just like how Raging Bolt filled up theirs. So here we are going to be able to use this Artisan, and we can find a Ralts, so that way then we have 2 Ralts set up. And here we will throw down the Mew and the Fez, and then we're going to be able to just Iono our hand away. We weren't able to use Restart, but we actually got such a crazy good hand here. So we're going to Earthen Vessel first, getting rid of the Research, so that way then we can Secret Box, and that's going to actually give us a ton here. This gets us both the TM Evo that we're going to need, a Ultra Ball as well, so we can get the Jellicent. We're also going to be able to grab that Arven, and then we have a choice of supporter, so we're just going to take another Research because we can get rid of that since we have a Iono in our hand. That way then our Ultra Ball can safely get us the Jellicent. We can get that down. We can put down the TM Evo, and then I should have also put down the Monkey, but I ended up just clicking Restart without really thinking for a second there. I was so just focused on making sure that we get the Gardevoir up. So yeah, we would have been able to draw 1 more card. But it doesn't really matter right here because we're still just getting everything set up. Now we have the Jellicent, so we can actually have them item locked and tool locked. So here they're going to have to do a lot of getting a bunch of stuff ready, so that way then next turn they would be able to do a pretty good swing if they wanted to. So here they do use their 1 owl that they had on the bench, and that's going to be able to get them, most likely, if I were in their position, yeah, a Crispin and a Boss. So now they can use the Boss here if they want, boss up one of the Kirlias, and they can get rid of that and be able to use like any other items that they have in their hand. But here they're just going to use the Crispin instead. They get the lightning energy to hand and put a second fighting energy on the other bolt, and they do 150 damage with their Ogre Pawn. Here we top deck into our second copy of the Jellicent, which isn't really necessary right now, but because we didn't put down the Munkidori, we actually have enough room that we can put down this Frillish, and that's going to allow us to be able to get that up into another Jellicent, because they're most likely going to knock this one out next turn. So here we actually, with the Ino, got a Gardevoir, which is huge because that means that we can put some energy from our discard onto the Jellicent. Now it can actually attack. It's going to be able to do 80 damage. And now this turn they will be able to get rid of our Jellicent, but we do have an Ultra Ball in hand, so we could use that. The TM Devo isn't going to matter in this matchup. The Dark Energy we could put on a Munkidori, which is going to be pretty good. Here, all they did is just knock out and pass. So now we do have Mew in the active because it has free retreat. And then I'm just thinking through my plays because now we top decked a Nest Ball too. So I just do Fez first. I was thinking about putting down the Clefairy, but smartly I thought about it for a second and said no. What we really need here is we need to finally get a Munkidori down. We have 2 Dark Energy, so we can manually attach one. We're Nest Balling down the Munkidori so we get one more card out of our hand. And then we get rid of the Rare Candy and the TM Devo, so that way then we get more cards out in case we have to use this Iono. It's less cards that are bricks and giving us more consistency. So you always kind of want to fix your hand like that, especially with a deck like Gardevoir that is constantly running those Ionos and trying to hit those back to back. You want to make sure that you're only drawing cards that are going to help you win the game. So here with the Monkey, we do just throw the damage onto the Ogre Pawn, even though we're not able to knock it out right now. Because we have Boss in hand, that means next turn, if they were to get a knockout or something, we could just throw down this Clefairy, and then we're going to be able to hit for ×2 weakness into a Raging Bolt, and that's going to be able to knock that out and guarantee us a knockout right there. Here, though, they just hit us for some damage, and we're actually going to take advantage of that. So we are just going to counter Catcher up a Boss since we top deck that. This does allow us to easily get a knockout using the Munkidori. That gets us our first 2 prizes here, and we can manually attach the Psychic Energy, so that way then we finally have 4 Psychic in our grave when our Jelly finally gets knocked out. And here we're going to be able to hit for 160. This can matter in cases of like we boss up like they're knocked out, and then we can just start moving a little bit of damage around and stuff like that, get a free knockout that way until we're properly set up to get rid of like the second Raging Bolt, or get rid of one of their other key EXs to take our final 2 prizes. Here they have the Sadas, but we look in their grave and all they have is Grass Energy. So that means that they're just going to be able to get some Grass Energy. They're probably going to throw it on the Koraidon and on the Raging Bolt in the back. They will easily be able to get a knockout here. And if I were in their position, I would probably get rid of the 2 energy that are attached to the weakened Raging Bolt. So that way then we know that that's most likely going to get knocked out next turn. So let's see if they go through with that. So instead, they actually just get rid of the 2 Grass Energy from their benched Ancient Pokemon, which was a complete mistake. So here we can actually capitalize on that fairly well. And we do play down the Clefairy first. We want to make sure that we get that down. And then I'm actually thinking about just retreating into this Gardevoir. It's going to be really hard for them to get enough energy down to be able to knock out this Gardevoir, even with us putting 60 damage on it, because we're going to be able to move 30 damage onto something else. And since we have the boss, we can easily knock out either the Raging Bolt or the Latias. So it doesn't matter what we put the damage on right here. And then we're just going to hit them with the Iono. So we do lose that boss, but we're down to only 17 cards left in deck after getting our new 4. And then we also do the Fez, so that puts us a little bit closer. We find Psychic so we can actually manually attach to the Clefairy. We do knock out their Raging Bolt, and now they're in a position where they need to have exactly either enough energy to knock out our Gardevoir in the active, or they need to have enough energy plus not using a supporter so they can use Boss to be able to boss up our Clefairy or our Fez or our Mew and knock that out. So we put them in a very difficult position, and here they just throw the Noctowl up when we did knock out their Raging Bolt, so that's also another mistake. They probably should have just thrown the Latias up, but I think they were just trying to get a little bit more energy down, and they didn't want to give us a 2-prizer right away, even though they could have just freely retreated into the Noctowl before passing the turn. So a little bit of a missequence on their part. Now then, for our turn though, we have quite a few things that we can do here. So first we're going to start with this Munkidori. This allows us to throw a little bit of damage around, and I'm thinking about putting it down on the Fan Rotom. Since that's only at 70 HP, we can then retreat into the Monkey, and then here we can actually use the Gardevoir, be able to put an energy on the Monkey, and now we can attack with the Munkidori, dealing 60. That is not going to knock out the Noctowl, which is huge. Keeps it with 10 HP left. It's confused as well, so they're going to have to manually attach an energy to this Noctowl or have an air balloon if they run it to be able to retreat it to go into the Bolt so they can actually then swing, which means they would need like Asadas and then also have like a counter catcher if they wanted to get a 2-prize for the game, which they don't have, so we can easily put up this Clefairy after they take out our Monkey, and that's going to allow us to easily knock out their Raging Bolt for game. So now we're into game number 2, and this is actually one of our worst possible matchups. This is the Grimsnarl and Frostlass Munkidori deck. So here they do at least give us access to the Artisan, so that's going to be helpful, but they're running Badoo as well. So if they ever get a chance to just manually attach to the Impidimp in the active, they could then just item lock us like what we plan on doing to them. We do have the Arven though, so we can just get a secret box and then get our TM Evo here. And we're just looking to see exactly what all we have left in the deck. We have 2 Frillish, 1 Jellicent still. We have a Jellicent in hand. So here we're going to be able to get rid of both of those energy, and then we get rid of the Mew as well, because the Mew could easily be one-shot at any point, just like the rest of our Psychics, but it's a little bit easier for them to get rid of that. So with that secret box, we actually get a Artisan that we can discard with this Earthen Vessel, and then we also got another Ultra Ball, and then we also got the TM Devo. This way we're setting ourselves up to give us the opportunity of being able to stay fighting in this match. And here we are just using 1 Ultra Ball. We're going to most likely get rid of this counter catcher, and I'm thinking about getting rid of the other Ultra Ball here. But I could also just get rid of a Jellicent. This way we get the Frillish down, and then we can just use the Ultra Ball to be able to find the Gardevoir next turn and be able to get access to the energy that we have in our grave. So here we do get the Kirlia down as well. So if they get a Frostlass going, we will start taking a decent bit of damage on both our Fez and our Jellicent, but so here they are just going to Arven to start off their turn. They get down another Snow Run to try to set up a second Frostlass, and then they use the Arven. So the hope here is that they don't get a rare candy, so that way then they don't have like a rare candy Grimsnarl play, because that would just be devastating and would probably just win them the game on the spot right there. So that's what we're hoping not to happen. Alright, so let's see. What are they going to get? So there's a couple different things that they could get. They do get the secret box and a TM Evo, but they actually just get rid of their entire hand for the secret box, so they can actually search out 4 specific cards, one of each type of trainer. Alright, so here they got a rare candy, the stadium, the TM Evo, and they got a research as well. So here they do get the Grimsnarl, so they actually get the rare candy Grimsnarl play, which is very bad for us. And now they will be able to start attacking if they choose to. But they do still have that TM Evo in hand, so they may actually decide to put that down and then just get a second Frostlass going, since they already have one going. But instead, they just attach it because they still have a research in hand, and then they get a bunch of damage down. Here, though, we top deck into a Nest Ball. So there's a couple different things that we could really do here. Alright, so now that we top deck that Nest Ball, the game plan is pretty simple. We're going to play down the Munkidori, we're going to put down the energy, and then I make a mistake here. So what I should have done is I should have put the TM Devo, because I'm going to put it down. I should have put it down on the Jellicent, and then I do the Iono. So if I would have done it on the Jellicent, there's a high chance that I would have gotten the Ultra Ball again, and then I would have been able to get the Gardevoir and gotten a energy on my Jellicent, gotten that all set up and ready. But instead, I make that mistake, and now they're going to easily be able to do something like another rare candy play and be able to get into another Grimsnarl if they have it. So that's definitely a big misplay that could potentially bite me in the butt. So here we do still just TM Devo, and now we have to force them into, do they have the rare candy Grimsnarl again or not? So here they do just play down a Munkidori. They add the manually attach for it as well. And then they Arven. So we did put the Grimsnarl in their hands, so all they have to do is just get the rare candy off that, which they did. And now they're able to easily get into the Grimsnarl again, which gets them gets them a knockout on our Fez and allows them to put some damage down too for spread damage. So this is all very, very, very bad for us. They also get a Morgrem down, so another TM Devo play isn't very good. They also just have the counter catcher, so they bring up the Munkidori. They throw some damage down on the Fez, and now they're going to be able to still get the knockout on the Fez, and they're going to be able to knock out our Munkidori at the same time. Personally, if I was in their shoes, I would have just gotten up the Jellicent instead, or even the Gardevoir instead, and just gotten 4 prizes instead of just getting 3. But for some reason, they left me with my 2 EXs. So here, I just concede there's no way of winning. Now then, for game number 3 though, this is more of a rogue matchup. So we see a Froakie here and a Dunsparce. They also get down a Duskull with the Nest Ball, and then they're playing a spicy tech right there. That's a Flutter main with the Flutter ability, which is really good into decks that have like one main attacker that relies on ability, like Charizard EX. If you can get that into the active with you having a Flutter main, you can turn off their ability when they evolve so they can't get their energy and they have to manually attach. You can also stop other things like Gholdengo. Instead of them getting a free draw 2 every turn, they could only get draws off of their benched Gholdengos instead. That's the thing that they usually run that in there for. I was debating about running it in my deck. That's the reason why I'm talking so much about it and why I know so much about it. So here, our turn turned out pretty well. We have a Frillish. We were able to item lock them. So they're not going to be able to rare candy up their Greninja, and they get down a Badoo here. They do have the Hilda, so luckily we did hit them with that item lock. They are just going to get down a Dunsparce. They could draw 3 right now, which they're going to, so that way then they can get that Badoo up there. And then they do find the Frogadier, so we know that most likely next turn they're probably going to go into a Greninja, so we need to find ways of stopping them this turn, so hopefully we can find a Jellicent. Now, our top deck was okay, and here we can just get down a second Ralts. The big issue is they already have a water energy on their Frogadier, so if they can go into a Greninja, then get the ignition energy down, they can easily knock out both of our Raltses, and we just won't have access to Gardevoir for a very long time. So they could easily snowball that way, but we are just item locking them. They're playing Xerosic's Machinations, so they put us down to 3 cards in hand, so we have to give up the other Frillish, but we have a Night Stretcher in hand, so I'm fine with that. We also want to keep this rare candy in case we can draw into a Gardevoir. So here we are just going to do another Artisan. We're doing this to thin our deck as much as possible. I'm looking to see exactly how many copies of everything I have in my deck is. So I'm probably just going to get down this Screamtail. If I can ever get it up and running, it could be very, very good, getting rid of like Dusclops and Dusknoirs before they can actually use their abilities. So here we just get the knockout on the Badoo. They put up the Frogadier. They do have the Hilda. They do get the combo. And this is going to be really devastating against us. So they also get another Froakie down too. And they do Mirage Barrage. They do take out both of our Raltses, leaving us with just a Soul, Munkidori, and a Frillish. So now we find a Super Rod. We will be using that. We can put back the Frillish plus double Ralts, and then use the Artisan. We can find another Ralts. This is still within territory of getting knocked out, but we have the Nest Ball, so we can actually get down to Fez. Hopefully we draw into what we need. We don't. We just get another Ralts, and we have another Frillish again, but I'm thinking about just using Counter Catcher here. We can just throw up their Froakie that they have and then item lock them again. This way we're buying ourselves a little bit of time to hopefully find a Gardevoir EX at some point, or maybe even finding a Jellicent, because the key thing about this Greninja is it's ×2 weak to Psychic, so we can one-shot it pretty easily. We already have 2 energy on our Frillish, so if we can get it into a Jellicent, we're already doing 160 damage for just 2 energy, and then if we can get 2 more energy down, we're one-shotting any Greninja. Here, they do just manually attach, and now they're able to get a free search as well from their Greninja, and we're now put into a pretty rough position where we have to give a Ralts. But we do have another Frillish. We do draw into an Iono, but we're just going to draw 3 first because we had this rare candy, and it actually pays off huge. We can get rid of this research plus the Artisan. This is going to allow us to get the Gardevoir down, and that's going to be huge because that means that we can actually one-shot this Greninja. We're going to get down the Frillish as well, and then I'm going to hit them with the Iono. They had a 15 card hand, and now it's all the way down to 3 cards. Hopefully they don't have the cards that they need to try to clap back. So we know now that we are going to be able to one-shot. We have enough energy in our discard to be able to do so. So we are just going to be able to throw down that energy. We keep 1 in discard, so that way then if we need it, then we still have it, and we just manually attach the other one. So we do get 2 prizes. Let's see what they are. So it's actually Dark Energy and a Earthen Vessel, which is pretty huge here because we can put this Dark Energy next turn onto our Monkey, and we can actually start moving damage around with its ability as well. As for the Earthen Vessel, it's easy to be able to get the energy from our deck, 2 more Psychic, then use Ultra Ball to get rid of those, get the Jellicent that we need, put that down. Then we can retreat our Gardevoir, go into the Jellicent, turning off their items and tools, and still being able to do a ton of damage. So here they actually put down a Frogadier, and then they hit us with the Iono, which it's still not enough to really disrupt us too much. If we can draw into a Jellicent, that's pretty much all we really need. They hit us with their A-Spec, the Unfair Stamp, and we actually get another Dark Energy. So we can still manually attach that, and we have the Screamtail. So what we can actually do now instead is we can retreat our Gardevoir and be able to use the Screamtail to knock out the Frogadier before it goes into a Greninja. So they did choose to put down a Dusknoir using one of their rare candies and knocking out our Munkidori. We do get a prize and they get a prize. So we're only needing 2 prizes right now, which is pretty nice because our Fez is also online. So what we're going to do here is we're going to look through our deck a little bit, see what's in there. We can get down a Monkey, and I'm most likely going to Fez first. I could get down this Screamtail as well. So let's Fez first, see if we get what we need. We do. So we can actually get rid of this Ralts, get 2 energy, and then we're going to be able to put down the Screamtail. We can use this Ultra Ball. This is going to just whiff because we already have the Jellicent in hand. So here, I'm thinking about the Kirlia, but we could just go back into the Screamtail, which is what we're going to do, and they concede. So overall, Jellicent Gardevoir is definitely an underrated meta deck right now. It does really well into things like Gholdengo and other item-heavy decks, and the only thing you really have to watch out for is dark-heavy decks like Grimsnarl or Zoroark. So if you're looking for a deck that's both fun and competitive, that's a good takeaway from Gardevoir, this is definitely the one that you should try. And if you enjoyed the breakdown, hit that like button and subscribe for more. I post new videos every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. And let me know down in the comments, would you take Gardevoir Jellicent to a tournament? Have a good day.